right, it's 10 o'clock. Let's get started. Hi, everybody. I'm Tish Hicks. I'm the Master Sensei of the VO Dojo here in Burbank, California. And I am joined today by Brittany Cox and Ryan Ricks from Next Level Voice Demos. They are our the Dojo's demo producers. And this is our demo listen derby. It's something we've been doing for a little while now. We do it twice a year. And what it is an opportunity for you to see the process of what happens when you send your demo somewhere. And in that process, we're going to hone in on what we're listening for, what in general is expected, and we'll let you see the elimination process that happens in real time, right? Actually, why don't I have Ryan and Brittany, why don't you introduce yourselves, and then we can go into the logistics of how everything's going to work. And if you're just coming on, please let us know in the chat where you're calling from. So, hey guys, so happy you're here. Again, this is one of my favorite things to do all year. And yeah, tell us about yourselves.
Hi, I'm Brittany, and I'm a voiceover artist here in Los Angeles. I specialize in commercial animation and video game. I also do some narration. I'm the voice of Nancy Drew. I'm also in Fire Emblem, if you guys are familiar with that, and Trials of Mana. And we've been producing demos together for how long has it been?
It's super close to 10 years.
Yeah,
super
so
close.
long time. We started doing them up in Seattle where we were both working professionally, and then brought that down here to LA.
Yeah, and I'm Ryan, and I am the technical side of the component. I'm an audio engineer and a composer. I started working in voice casting while we were in Seattle, as well as doing music licensing and placements for big commercial clients. And then after a few years there, I branched out and went freelance, and now I do it all with clients directly. And so I'm responsible for recording, directing VO, all of the editing, mixing, post-production elements of everything is what I do. And I've worked with clients all over the board, all the way from...
You did my Sonic campaign.
Yeah, I did Brittany's Sonic campaign that's out in the world right now, as well as I've worked with Sony and various other places. So, yeah.
And thank you for having us today. It gave us an excuse to actually get dressed and not wear workout clothes.
I am wearing pants.
First time in like 7 months. This is very exciting.
Wearing pants. Super great.
We gotta stay in more. That's great. That's great. And Ryan, you said that you're a composer as well, right? You mentioned that?
Yes.
Okay.
And if I didn't, yes, I am. That's what I do. I
So,
do audio.
So this is why we love working with Brittany and Ryan, because they have real hands-on experience in sort of all the elements that actually are needed to make a demo. Brittany is in the mix as a successful voiceover artist, and has the other cool thing about them is that, as you can hear from their background, they understand different markets very well, coming from North Carolina, and then knowing the Pacific Northwest market. And then Brittany, we met when you were making the transition from Seattle to LA, right? And then you've just gone like, got it figured out. Okay, here we go. So Brittany is both of them are really really in the pulse of what's going on now. Brittany's an incredibly intuitive writer. She writes material for demos. So this combination of and then Ryan, with your actually hands-on, having been the decision maker, understanding of the process, it's a really powerful combination. So we'll watch it in action today. Okay, so I've made you guys co-hosts, Ryan and Brittany.
Cool.
So
Brilliant.
you should be able to share the screen. So maybe what I will do because it looks like we have look at that, 66 people, awesome. We have
Full
a
house.
so that's great. So maybe what I'll do is put up the gauntlet and show what it is we're going to be running everyone through here and what we're trying to accomplish. And then I'll switch it back to you guys, and you can put up the actual submissions. And you know what, a lot of what we do at the dojo, sorry, I'll just, a little sidebar. A lot of what we do at the dojo is mindset work and internal work. And a lot of the way that we shift things is semantics. So I actually have a very big issue with the word submission, because just think about it. Oh, here's my submission. Oh, I submit to you. I submit, right? The demos that people have shared, the demos that people have delivered for this opportunity is what I'd like to say, because I really dislike that word. I will submit to you, because it's disempowering, and what we're about is being empowered in this. Okay, so meanwhile, back to what we were talking about. Let me put up the overview of the gauntlet here for the demo listen derby. So we play with this idea of a demolition derby, right? That everybody's in the mix, driving around, and then after the first round, some people are eliminated because they've been crashed into, right? Or whatever happens into demo listen derby, right? So we'll do several rounds. The first one, we're going to be listening. So we'll listen for the first impressions, the middle impressions, and then the lasting impressions. These are the three layers that we're going to be looking for. So how we reply might be a mixture of some of these things, but these are the things that we're looking for. So let's go through those, and then we'll talk about the how we'll do each step. Okay, so think about this. Run the gauntlet. So what we'd like you to do is be able to see how your demo holds up in the process that is the decision-making process, right? So the first impressions of your voice, the things we might be listening for. Pop. Does it grab me in the first 3 seconds? People have been signed with agencies from their first 5 seconds. Cut through. Does your voice cut through the noise? Can we hear you clearly? Connection. Does it move me? Is it true? Likability. Do I want to spend more time with you when it's done? Your you-ness. There's lots of really great demos out there. And what makes yours uniquely yours is what we like to look for in a good demo, right? Because there's good demos, and then could be anybody, right? Do I know when it's done? Do I know when it's done, and does it share what's uniquely you? We'll also be addressing middle impression things like your production quality. Now more than ever, it's not just audition quality, production sound quality. It's this is all production quality. This is not just your home studio or anything. This is not just your setup. This is the quality of the production. Does it sound like it's a professional? Does it an actual spot? Competitive skills. Does it sound like something I'd hear on air? Does it sound like a national spot or a regional spot? Both totally valid. Just know what your market is. Your range. Do I have a good sense of all the facets of your voice? Are there contrasts? What ways are they different? Versatility. Can I interpolate what you can do in between? If there's this spot and this spot, do I have a clear picture of what, if this is blue and this is yellow, can I get a really good sense of your green, right? And having a range of energy. At the dojo, we call it the cellometer, a gradient of intimacy and energy that different types of spots will require, right? And then the lasting impressions. Is it current? Is it up to date? Trends change, demo styles change, advertising changes. Humor. does it make me laugh? I think, Brittany, this is one of your superpowers. There's always one thing that's like, oh my God, there's something that makes you go like, oh my God, that was so funny. Pacing, do the spots flow at the right rate? Surprise, was there something you weren't expecting? Maybe a culminating effect of like that, of how that made you feel. Rhythm, does it take me on an enjoyable ride? I always think of a great demo is like a really cool roller coaster ride. You're excited to get on it, and then it takes you boom, boom, boom through all sorts of different levels and keeps you moving thoroughly. And at the end, you want to do it again. Like that's what we that's what we want. Marketability. Do I know exactly what I can do with your voice? Vibe. What's your thing? Undeniability. Is it something that I can't resist? That's ultimately what we want. And then we'll talk. I'll let Brittany and Ryan. You're really good at explaining the use of a demo. So I just blurped out a lot of information. I think this will unfold as we do it. But does anyone have any questions about anything that I just blurped out? And I'll keep this up on the, actually, I don't have an assistant on this call, but I can, oh, you know what? I can put this in the chat and you can have it at your own homes. How about that?
Perfect. Can we get a copy of the list? Yes.
She
will put it in the chat.
Yeah. Any questions? Any questions right now?
So some of these characteristics that we're looking at are really applicable primarily to commercial copy. What I submitted was a corporate demo. So
okay.
I'm just curious how that fits into this.
Some of them do, but a lot of things are true. You know, we still want it to be an enjoyable ride. We still want it to have your range. We still want it to serve the purpose that it is. So it seems like it might be specifically, but there's elements of all of these things that will be whatever demo you're submitting that will be applicable. Do you agree, Brittany, Ryan? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even animation, video game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of, these are kind of some broad catch-all filters that inform all of the decisions in the process.
Yeah, and these are all things, some more than others depending on who's listening, but these are all things that casting, agents, clients, buyers, any of these people will be listening for. They might not necessarily know that's what they're listening for,
right.
But all of these things are things that they're listening for no matter what the medium is.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's kind of our attempt to vocalize things that are more internal, because a lot of what you'll find out as we go through the workshop today is you'll realize how many of these decisions that we've listed out happen in a split second.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, oh, I'm going to listen through to see if it like sounds good, or oh, I'm going to listen through and see if the voice really does cool things, or like whatever the thing on the page is. It's literally like all of that stuff happens at the same time.
Right, which is great having this process, because we can break it down. We can break it down for you. We can watch it unfold. So I did put the link to this gauntlet that is up on the screen right now. Brittany and Ryan, why don't you talk about that little next thing that's on the end of this gauntlet list about what is the purpose of a demo and how and who uses it and how. So this is the bigger question. A lot of what we do at the dojo is we try to give you an overview of like, here's the whole scope of everything in terms of here's the landscape, and then what are the questions or what are the frameworks that you can start thinking about things. So this would be the next layer of questions. What is a demo? Who does it serve? And how do different people use it, right? And then we can get into what makes a good demo, and then what is your demo? And
I got it. Yeah, so yes, so this is one of the most important things that we want to communicate today, is it comes right at the beginning, is that your demo is never heard in a vacuum. and that your demo is always being listened to in the context of something else.
Yeah.
That's really, really important to keep in mind, specifically because in the voice casting side of things, which, like I mentioned earlier, is how I got started in the audio production world in the first place, is the way that I was taught to listen to demos, and kind of my day in and day out job primarily, in addition to the music stuff, was sorting through auditions and demos. So what that would look like is a client comes to the studio, and say it's Burger King, I don't know. Burger King comes to the studio and they say, hey, we have this commercial that we want to cast. And we say, okay, great. So we'll send out feelers to all the different agents in town, anybody on our short list. We'll pull together demos. And if the client has a specific audition, they want to audition, we'll send that out. All of that stuff gets dumped on my desk.
And this could be anywhere from 50
to 400.
Yeah.
You never know.
You never know.
It all just depends on how wide the net gets cast. And so let's say it's the 400, right? Let's say it's like that big of a net that gets cast. So your demo is being listened to in the context of 399 other demos and or auditions. And so my job was to go through and pull together my top 50 from those 400 to submit back to the client to say, here's who we feel represent your brand and your energy for this campaign the best. And then they would start whittling it down from there. And so the way that that would look is I would literally go through and just kind of preview.
Which you will see us do in a little bit.
Which you'll see the process go through in a little bit. And I would go through and preview just a few seconds, somewhere in the middle, maybe somewhere towards the end, the beginning, whatever, to just get an immediate impression about who this person was. And all of those things that are listed on that sheet that Tish shared with you are kind of the filters that they were going through. As I was listening for, how, like, does this feel real? Do I feel connected? Am I immediately pulled into what they're doing? Is there anything distracting? And I feel like that's a really important distinction to make, is a lot of times it becomes more of an excuse because there's so many people. Sometimes it's more of looking for reasons to say no than it is to say yes. And I know that's a weird thing, but contextually, that's really important to know. Is it's like, if your demo, if you're a fantastic voice actor, but your demo sounds like it was recorded on an iPhone, that's a reason to say no. And because I can't hear past it in the 10 seconds that I get to spend with you while sorting through the 400 that I'm going through. And so that's kind of the world that this stuff exists in. And that's a very common scenario for voice casting people and assistants like I was, and all of that stuff. That's our job, is we sit there and we cull through this stuff, and we just have seconds. We just have these moments of things to connect with you. That's why it's so important that everything from your sonic quality to your authentic performance to, the current trends, all of that stuff plays a role in creating this immediate impression that I have to say yes to, and there's nothing that I can say no to, which would push you out of the pile, if that makes sense.
And it's also a trust thing. Do I trust that if I send this person to the client, that when they walk in, they will deliver exactly what I'm hearing, and that it's current? So if a demo sounds like it was made 20 years ago, do they still sound like that? Can I trust that if they come in now, that they sound the same and can deliver the same types of performances, or has their voice changed? So these are all things to think about when people are talking about, is it current? Does it feel modern? Right. Those types of things.
Right. And so having that context and knowing how important all of those things are, and how mainly important authenticity is, and being on trend and just being a part of the community, because just like anything else, certain movies are on trend at the moment.
Right.
Like there's a lot of X kind of movie being made, or Y kind of movie being made, or X kind of music being written, or Y kind of music being written. So that falls on us and on voice talent in particular to be involved in their community and craft, and understand like what's going on and where things fit, and always kind of being aware of that stuff. And so then, more to the question, now that we have all that kind of background in place, why do you need a demo? What's it used for? So primarily your demo is there in a broad scope to open doors for
Tish,
you.
you're muted. Sorry, she was.
La
You're
la la
still
la
mute.
la.
Hold on
There
a
you are.
second. Before we jump into this, I just noticed something in the chat that I just wanted to make sure that we're clear on. Beata, you said that's so discouraging. What was discouraging? Because I think it might be hearing numbers and sheer volume. Is that what was?
No, what I meant is, if I may, that when they have so many audition tapes, and then they pick up, oh my God, I forgot now, but it was basically that they if they don't like some one tiny little things, that you already screwed in the, before you even start to run.
Right. So that's the beautiful thing about it. So yep, that's a thing. So then the game is.
Oh yes, I know. I'm sorry. If you don't have a professional equipment at home, so you cannot even do anything. So you have to invest so much money.
Good. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we're nipping any thoughts of discouragement, to keep open to how we can be encouraging, and that the things that you need to do to make sure you're in the mix and everything's cool are not that big a deal. Like that,
Exactly.
that's the great news. Like what you can do at home, like in your closet with a modestly budgeted home setup, is fantastic. People have had whole careers. So
Technology is wonderful.
So the
No, that's actually the opposite, but okay.
Yeah.
No. What we're trying to do, and this is appropriate for everybody, is our job today is to bring you a behind the curtain look at what you can expect. It is an unrealistic expectation for you to think that you're going to put, that somebody in this context that you're applying for jobs is going to sit and give their full attention to your 60-second demo. That is an unrealistic expectation. So knowing that expectation exists, and knowing the context in that the way that people who are going to hire you are going to be engaging with your materials, that gives you the knowledge to know how to level up your stuff so that you're coming in the gate with everything that you need right from the get-go. So that's our intention here. Is it's not to say that like, oh, this is the hardest thing ever. Good luck. Like, we're trying to give you some tools and very actionable perspectives that you can take to where it's not, oh, good luck. It's like, oh, like I remember from this demo thing that they were saying, and which you'll see later, like that this is how people generally listen to my demo. Okay, great. So I need to make sure that like these moments are like super strong, and that if I was going to have something different in my demo, that these are the places where I would put them. That's going to be really actionable help for you, or understanding that like
your demo is not listened to on its own.
That your demo is not like, oh, today they're going to listen to my demo, and then tomorrow they're going to listen to Charles's demo or Ian's demo. Like that's it's crazy, because so much of this particular profession is done in isolation, even more so with the zombie apocalypse happening. And so it's really important to just understand that like you put all this work into something on your own, you put hours into your auditions, into your demo prep and all this stuff, but then this is how it gets in the washing machine of the real world. Like it just goes out and it's out of your control at that point. And so what we're wanting to do is give you those actionable things that you can do to give yourself the best chance possible for that washing machine to work in your favor, and
just ways to think about it. So you're not like, so it's like, okay, so this really has, I've done the best I can do. There are that many auditions. Okay, maybe it just wasn't my turn this time. Next time it's going to be my turn. As long as I know there's nothing distracting in my demo, I've done the best I can do. And so I feel like there's some freedom in that.
Yeah. Like this is all supposed to be super helpful as we get deeper and deeper into it. And once we start listening to demos and get even more specific, I think there'll be a lot of that stuff there. But this is all just kind of broad strokes, setting the expectation of when I send my demo out into the world, this is the playing field that it gets dropped into. And I feel like just having that knowledge is super helpful.
Yeah. And with today, we're going to go through all of these things. So you'll see it in action. So it's like, oh, this makes sense.
Yeah.
And any feedback, just while we're here and talking about this, everything we do, we're saying we are very honest people, because it doesn't serve you if we're sugarcoating things, but just know everything that Tish, Ryan, and I say today, we're saying it with love and with things that are actionable, things that you can take and be like, okay, this is a different way to think about it. So just know we're not here to be negative or to poop on anybody. We're here to give you actionable tools to think about things differently and maybe move to another place in your career that you haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah, because I mean, you having this knowledge only makes people who are in my job, makes our jobs easier.
Yeah.
Because it gives me less things to say. Like it makes everybody's life better. The tide rises all ships.
Exactly.
So that's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
And so to switch back to just the kind of the general question of, you know, why you need a demo, what purpose it serves, blah, 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 blah. The big answer is, and the one that applies to the most situations, is it opens the doors that you want opened for you. Your demo is there to introduce you as a complete stranger to another complete stranger and to build an instant rapport of trust and authenticity. Full stop. That applies to commercial, corporate, narration, audiobook, animation, whatever. It doesn't matter. Yes. The job of the demo is to open the doors that you want opened for your career, for whatever. And so to that end, it's super important about what you put on the demo. And how it's structured, and all of the things that we kind of just briefly saw on the page. Like all of those things play a factor in making sure that when a perfect stranger hears your demo, that they instantly feel like they know you and can trust you, which is what Brittany was saying. Your demo is required for certain things. For example, if the next step for you in your career was to start sending your materials to agents to get representation for more auditions, your demo is going to be required for that. Obviously, for the same obvious reasons. They want to know, A, that they can authentically trust you.
And also what auditions to send you. Like, where do you fit in this category? Like, are you a warm, friendly mom? Are you an upbeat, super energetic millennial? Like, where do you fall in categories, so I know where to put you and what things to send your way?
Right. And we'll get more into that as we go through the process and stuff. But generally speaking, that is what the demo is for. And so to that end, it's also becomes an extension of saying, okay, well, who is my end client? Who's my end user? And how can I help them do their job to the best of their ability? And that will answer a lot of questions for you in terms of how long should my demo be? What spots should I include on there? If I do a narration demo, should I send just my corporate stuff to the corporate clients, or should I send them all of my e-learning and kids stuff too? If you think about it in terms of who's going to be using it and what doors you're wanting it to open for you, all of those kind of nitpicky questions get answered automatically, because you're like, oh, I'm sending this demo to a commercial agent, therefore I'm going to send my commercial demo.
Or I have a contact with a corporation, I would love to do their corporate explainers for them. Well, I don't need to send my kids e-learning stuff
or my audiobook
demo, because that's not going to help them.
So I'm going to send the two things that I have recorded for my corporate explainer stuff. And so all those questions, they start getting answered when you start looking at it from who's going to be relating to your demo and how they're going to be doing it. And also, like, from your point of view, what are those doors that you want opened? I think that answers that question.
Do you have any other thoughts, Tish? Did we miss anything?
No, I think that makes sense. Once again, we're just putting in everything we're going to do today in context, right?
Yeah.
So the other thing that I want you to know that that, you know, putting your voice out into the world, sharing your voice is a vulnerable thing. So as Brittany was saying, everything here is safe, nurturing, and we are here to be here for you, or for your growth and benefit. We're here to help. So understanding that putting your voice out there is vulnerable, we encourage you to take everything that happens here not in a personal way, but in a way that if you have a question or if something does come up like, hey man, then we want you to know that we are available to you to talk about or discuss anything. So the way things are going to roll, some of you might not get, like, some of you might be out in the first round because we might be like, no. But that doesn't mean that we aren't available later, because we're here in the context of this process and we want you to see how it rolls and goes. But everybody who's on this call can find time on both of our calendars and we can talk more. Okay, so you're not missing out on anything. You're just going to have some more information about how you're working. I think that's
and if we don't get to your demo today, because sometimes that happens, is we get because there are so many people send in their stuff, we don't always have time to get to everyone. If that happens, no worries. Like Tish was saying, after this call, we are available to chat through your demo and say, okay, here's the things what we're hearing. Here's feedback, all that stuff. So don't panic.
Yeah, we'll put all our contact info in the chat later on, so you can reach out that way. So no stress.
So no stress.
And one last thing, we are 3 subjective humans that are bringing our experience in the business as demo producers, as talent, as educators, and coaches. This is our opinion. So everyone who listens is going to have a subjective experience of their thing. So please take everything that happens, that unfolds here today in that context. And like everything in your career, take it or leave it, right? Take what works, leave what doesn't. So
exactly.
Well, with that being said, we're just at 10:30. So why don't I stopped the share. So Ryan, you should be able to share your thing.
And while he's setting that up, because we are not casting or looking for something specific, just know that process is a little, so we're slightly different. So if we were looking for let's say we're looking for a burly sounding older gentleman who we want to hang out with and grab a beer with, that process would be, listening through demos would be slightly different than what we're listening for today.
Right, exactly. Because in an actual casting situation, your ear is already been set by the expectation of whatever the job is, and so that's the first filter that you're going through.
I just sent out. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying. But today, we're not casting for anything specific. We're just listening for impressions and feelings and how all of these things come at us from people that we've never met to us who you haven't met, and how that hits our ears through, like what Tish was saying, through our collective experience and stuff. And that's kind of the fun of the whole thing. And it kind of circles back to what Brittany and I were saying earlier about how important it is for you to just know what's going on in your community as a voice actor and to come at your work from an authentic point of view. There's no way you can account for everybody's opinion ever. And that's not your job to do. Your job is to come to your work as authentically as possible. And the people who are going to connect with you are going to be the people that you're going to want to work with.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just real quick, for example, just this morning, I'm helping with 2 castings that have come the Dojo word, and people who are part of the Dojo community. I'm like, oh, these are people I know, I can trust. These are people who are invested. So we're looking for a young sounding Tom Hollander with a Welsh who can do some Welsh for an audiobook opportunity, but also had to be non-union. So I'm like, okay, who are those people? And then there's another opportunity for a CNN documentary that a colleague of mine is casting, and she needs it right this instant, and she needs an older African-American woman. I'm like, okay, well, so obviously those 2 people wouldn't be submitted for the same thing, right?
I would hope not.
Right. Awesome. So cool. Well, let's get the party started.
We're gonna start with commercial today, because that's where we have the most demos.
Can everybody see that window? Just give me a thumbs up in your video.
It's a little small, but I think it's okay.
Okay.
Well,
I mean,
This
like
is a big computer screen.
it's,
So I don't know why
A
it's
little
fine.
small, yeah.
It's good. The type is a little.
let's see. It's
so-
all about how it sounds, right?
Yeah, sound is the important thing. You guys don't need to see it.
All about how it sounds. Great. So we've kind of set the stage so that we're all coming to this from some form of unity in our perspectives. And so this is your chance to kind of put your voice casting hat on.
Yep.
And like, this is you getting to know another person that you've never met before. And our job is to suss out whether we connect with them and believe them.
And want to listen more.
Right? So in that context, we're just going to start listening
And
through.
and just as a caveat, we have not listened to any of these demos. So this is the first time for all of us to listen through things.
Correct.
And then we're going to do a little Tinder swipe at the top. We're just going to go, Brittany, yes, no. And Ryan, yes, no. Tish, yes, no. Maybe with a little slight comment, but mostly yes, no. And then we'll get to who would go into the next round.
Yeah, exactly. And then one last thing, and this is a cool thing that you guys can start doing with your current demos if you already have one, or something to keep in mind, is the way that I was kind of trained to listen through these things and get through them as quickly as possible is once we start playing it, I'm going to listen to a few seconds at the beginning. I'm going to skip to the middle, listen to a few more seconds, and then skip to the end and listen to a few more seconds. So all in, it's like 10 seconds worth of material spread out over the course of your demo. And in those 10 seconds, I want to be able to hear, the range and be able to hear some sonic differences and get a real sense for who you are in those different things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you're going to see us doing now, is kind of skipping through this stuff. And that's a very legitimate way that a lot of casting will listen on a first round to help kind of clear the field down a little bit, get it from 400 to 200. So let's jump in. And then anybody that we're like, all yeses to, I'll dump up in this folder so that we can revisit them again later in the thing. So here we go. Let's take a listen to Ben.
I know what you're thinking. Electric. It's not for you. The passion. Discover Journey, the digital travel and lifestyle channel. See, and our people. Mayo Clinic.
Okay.
I'm conflicted on this one.
I'm conflicted as well. There was something about it that was confusing to me in terms of their branding, and I didn't really understand their what they were bringing to the table.
Yeah.
It felt really scattered to me in terms of like the different places we listened to.
Tish, how did you feel?
Well, I definitely he's definitely a British guy, but then the middle one made me go like, is he a British guy? Oh, okay.
I did the same thing. Yeah.
And then, but so there's there's definitely different energies, and it seems pretty good. So slightly confused. I'd say I'd probably listen again, particularly if it was British. So I put a maybe.
Let's put him on, just since we're all on a maybe camp with that one.
Okay, cool. Let's go to Catherine.
It's where a road becomes a trip. Escape the world around you. Rated E for everyone. But you can see it all right here on Fuse. Reach your goals. A little help goes a long way.
Great. Instantly hearing this, I know
exactly who she is.
I know exactly who she is, where I could cast her. I get a sense of her general energy as a person. So absolutely.
Yeah.
Is that Sherry?
Yes, Sherry.
Remember Mom's apple pie? Remember when she used to put a Crayola Color Wonders color free because Harper's Hat's half off sale has huge heads? Still paying per minute for phone calls? Stop. It's expensive. Instead, switch.
I'm a maybe. I understand sort of who she is as a voice talent, but the production choices felt very
They didn't feel real.
And so I was kept at bay from her. So I'm like, like if she was in a big pile, it would be an easy, like, on to the next. What did you think, Tish?
Love the cut through. seems like she knows who she is. It sounds a little dated. It sounds like an old demo. It sounds like an old style of advertising, especially when it came to the like more character-y voice.
I thought this as soon as I heard the character voice, I was like, oh.
But just even the energy of what is that energy now, it's a little bit different. So good talent probably needs an update.
This needs an update,
Well, of the demo, but the talent is excellent, and there.
Yeah, I like the vocal print.
Yeah, she had a great vocal print. Okay, David.
There's nothing like the night sky. No more flameouts, hot spots, or misfires. Double shrimp buffets. Or the train. All you have to do is watch the scenery.
Okay, so
I love that opening spot.
Great opening, and I understand just by like process of elimination, I understand who he is and where he would fit in terms of like my casting roster. In terms of a demo, I have a lot of issues with this demo. Some key things that came up immediately were the character-y voices that when I clicked on, there was something that was not, that didn't, it felt the character-y, it was not him. So that was confusing. I mean, it was him doing the voices.
I mean, dude, if you just had that first spot, like,
and then
so good.
And then also, it's entirely too long.
Yeah.
It needs like a 30-second chop off of material out of there. So in terms of the vocal print, and again, this is where it comes down to if we were casting for David's vocal print, then it's like, oh yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
Like, dude's got a great sound, and this is the kind of vibe we're going for. In terms of the appeal of the demo, it's a no for me.
And I would say, yes, I mean, the first spot, absolutely, totally in the realm. And I think then the game is, so we establish that you're this guy, right? This guy, right? And then how do you distinguish you're this guy from the other this guy is something that a demo could unfold. So I would probably give it another, I would probably put it in yes, but just because like the quality seemed good. It just seemed like a little nuance needed to happen of like that's next layer.
Yeah, let's throw it in there because I'm curious if maybe it's just the things we clicked on were.
Maybe. Let's see.
Yeah.
All right, Dawn.
Hey, brokers, forget the paper access. You can now make.
So this is one of those things where it's like you never want anything to be distracting. Obviously, like there's nothing but the vocal in this thing, but that is the distracting bit because that's
it sounds like an audition.
Because it sounds like
and not a demo.
It sounds like, you know, auditions strung together as opposed to something that a client would put out as representative of their
demo
of their brand. So it's a no for me.
No for me.
Yeah, I mean, it just felt homemade.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And see how like he could have like his voice was totally fine and he could be a great actor, but it was just.
Or was it? I couldn't hear it. It was super quiet.
It's just like so it's just finding those things are like, oh, this is not where it should be. Okay, moving on. Like so it's finding those things that are not distracting, right?
Right. And this is just a great kind of moment to insert. Like the cool thing about your demo not being listened to in a vacuum is that you guys have access to every commercial ever made ever through iSpot TV and YouTube. Like you, as a voiceover talent, you have the greatest gift in the world, which is free ads. You get free streaming TV for ads. Cool. So I get my commercials pitched to me and I get to watch my TV shows for free. Great.
Yep.
Like, so you have access to these things to where you can make sure that your materials and what you're putting together to represent you would slot in the same programming slot that you're enjoying when you're watching NBC or you're watching your Criminal Minds or whatever it is. Like, so really use that to your advantage to make sure that you are.
You just skipped over. Yes, you did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then with this, notice nothing on here says commercial demo.
That one does. On Elena's demo.
Elena. So I don't know. I just know her name and that it's
a full
reel. So I don't know. So labeling is very important. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just label so we know exactly what we're listening to.
Yeah, and it looks like a lot of people did fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of good job. A lot, by saying commercial, my name. Really, that's all you need.
Super
Let's keep on going.
Okay.
I have been training all year for the world.
Loaded or not?
As an unobstructed line of sight access.
Was that narration at the end?
It might have been it was kind of a mix of things. So this as a vocal print.
Cute voice. I really like the voice cut through. I like how bright she was.
I liked her energy.
Yeah.
But as a demo, like there's a lot of confusion in this demo. Like we clicked on one thing that sounded like a commercial. At one point I heard a man's voice on there.
Which made me confused.
Which there used to be a trend where having conversational bits with multiple people on the demo was acceptable. Nowadays, it's kind of like a faux pas. So just be aware that your demo should be all about you and your voice. It does not matter about other people.
Yeah.
Like make sure that it's.
Why would you show off somebody else's work on your demo?
Make sure that it's you. So in that regard, it's a no for me.
It's a no for me as well. Tish.
I liked the realness. I like the realness of the beginning. The samplings were a little quick for me, but I understand that it did seem like a couple of different things going on.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to Emily.
Meet Gabby, your new virtual and get ID card with 100% hope stand out from the crowd. Ingredients to create our.
So to my ear, every single spot
sounded the same.
Sounded exactly
the same.
Yeah.
Like exactly the same.
Yeah. It's a sweet voice. It was exactly the same.
Right.
Yeah. So
if I was looking for that type of voice specifically,
maybe.
Yes. As a demo, not really. And it's not even for the reason that you would think, because a lot of people would think, oh, like it's missing range. Like that's the obvious thing that you're like, oh, variety, range. I want to make sure there's plenty of variety and range. Variety and range is a sliding scale. So you want to make sure that everything that's on there is reflective of like you in an authentic way. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be like this, just crazy extremes. That being said, there was like no range there. So that might be something to revisit. So for that reason, it's a no for me. Same.
I'd agree.
Let's go to Fran.
Wait, we forgot Anna.
You keep trying to skip people.
When it comes to finances, sometimes you get pulled in directions. You need someone you can.
Okay.
This feels like an audition.
And also, I could hear the recording quality wasn't great.
Yeah.
And so this is not something that I would send out representing a commercial demo.
Agreed.
No, totally agree. But like the quality and friendliness of her voice, I think there's
the voice is cool
and a nice conversational feel to it. But the first thing I heard was like, oh.
Yeah. And I think that's an important thing is we've only listened to maybe 10 demos so far. And a very common thing is that it's like, oh, cool vocal print, but all these other things are completely distracting from that vocal print.
So it gives us a reason to say no.
So it's super important that like, even if you have a fantastic voice, everything there has to be there to support that, like just like a great piece of music or something like that. You wouldn't want like a bassoon solo in the middle of your Led Zeppelin song. Like
be weird.
That'd be super weird. All right, let's jump down to Fran.
Francesca Burgoyne. Can't you just stop doing math? But it has been taken for granted. Old Microsoft. And look at this. I'm a PC, and Windows 7 was my.
Okay, so cool. So cool vocal print again. I would say that because I saw in the metadata on the file that it's called
Francesca Burgoyne.
So be very aware of what your metadata is saying.
And also, like, so the file is labeled commercial reel, but I didn't hear any commercial copy on that reel.
It felt kind of narration to me.
Yeah.
Like more almost a corporate narration thing. I love the voice. The cut through is great.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on your agent, because I don't know who this is for, you don't have to do a slate for a demo. That's unless your agent asks for it, you don't need to worry about that because your name is in the file.
Cool.
Right.
And then Fran, also let's do a caveat because you're working in the UK market, so there might be different standards or protocols that we aren't as tuned into, not working in that market as much. So I'll just put that out. Yeah, I love the voice. Totally felt like I could trust her in a session. The structure of the demo, I wasn't sure if the first thing was animation. So the structure of the demo was a little confusing. I would call her in and go like, oh, she could handle a session. So demo was yes, voice wise yes. So,
yeah, it sounded professionally done. Like it feels to me, I'm like, oh, she's been working, but but I mean, like that she maybe has done all these things and just put them together potentially. But yeah, for what we're doing today and the structure of a demo, it's a no because it's confusing of like, was there some character stuff? Is this a narration? What is this? So
yeah.
Yes.
And I think Debbie might have answered the question of the metadata, but there was a question of what is metadata?
Oh yeah. So metadata, when I hit spacebar, can you guys see the information that pops up? Yes. Like, do you see?
Yes.
You see this?
Francesca Burgoyne. New Snacker Jacks Toffee.
So this, can you guys see this little pop-up screen?
Yes.
Great. So this is metadata that you see is it's data or information that's saved into the file itself beyond just what it's named. Because you'll notice the name of her file is her name, demo listen, commercial voice reel, but none of that is written in the metadata.
I'm like, who's Round Island?
Of the file. So metadata is information that's encoded into a file itself. And so it's really important that the name of your file and your metadata match.
Or just don't have it metadata at all.
Or,
because some people haven't had that.
Some people haven't had it. My personal preference is the reason that metadata exists is so that people can search your file information in a deeper way. So having metadata attached to your audio, like just having your name as a metadata thing, allows different databases to search it. And it just depends on who's using it. I know certain agencies require some of that information because it allows them to sort through their auditions faster. But that's what metadata is it's
and
information.
Obviously, this is a little bit more in-depth technical, but in a nutshell, how and where would you check that?
So whatever audio program you're using to record, you would check it at in your preferences for your file exports, or you would check it when you actually hit, you go to your file and you go to bounce or file export and a little dialog window pops up. That would be a place to check it.
And you guys, it's super, if you just Google metadata and whatever your DAW is, so Audacity, Twisted Wave, Pro Tools, Logic, they have super easy guides to help you figure out how to do that.
Yeah, but it's not complicated. It's nothing to be be afraid of. All it is just
inputting.
You're aware of it.
It's just something
and
to
just
be aware
of.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
Let's keep on going.
Yeah.
Try.
To succeed, you must do things differently. Of Cronenberg. Papa John's. Or horse race. Follow the link to find out.
That's a yes.
Great.
For me.
Yeah, super clear. I understood how I could cast him, and I heard enough energy differences in the demo that
it makes me want to listen more to see what else is in there.
Yeah, really good. And nothing felt charactery. Everything felt
authentic,
felt really genuine, and that I was hearing somebody just doing their thing. So I think it's a yes, and it sounded great.
I said yes too.
Lovely.
And I'm also already casting him in 6 things.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he can fill these things. Great.
Yeah, super good. All right, Jim.
You know, when they say the key to real estate is location,
Going to Pretzel!
It's Fresh Collection. The gift, homie. We've got your back. Download the app today.
The only spot I liked was the download the app thing. Everything else, that first spot, like, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was skewed a little negative. I was immediately turned off. There was something about the vibe that just turned me off.
I agree. Yeah, I don't
know what it was.
And then for me, from the kind of the technical kind of production side of things, it didn't feel representative of what the commercial world sounds like.
Except that download the app one. I was like, I could. That might be an actual thing.
Yeah. So it's a no for me.
No for me.
Yeah, and I thought it caught my ear at that last thing. Like, I would definitely restructure it. So, but my first, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Jimmy is next.
Some say it's not a car. Surprisingly simple. Today, I'm boarding a and now, do I?
100% yes.
Great. Awesome. Again, like just in those moments, I got a sense of his different energies. Like, was he ever like super energetic and crazy? No, he's my laid back, like really positive,
but he
like,
did do upbeat,
but like super cool guy. Yeah. And I instantly connected with him, and there was nothing sonically that distracted from me connecting with his vocal performance. Mm-hmm. So it's a yes for me.
Same.
I think so too.
Good job, Jimmy. Okay.
Casey.
Casey Hamilton. Uneasy. From KFC. The pick me up you can feel good about.
It feels homemade to me because it's A, really quiet, but B, the where it was recorded doesn't feel industry standard to my ear, and my ear's not even hella tuned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to be clear, when because I know we've thrown out that phrase a couple of times, like homemade, there's nothing wrong with you recording your commercial demo in your home studio.
I've recorded 3 national commercials right here.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
And so homemade is not a don't do it at home. What the way Brittany's using that phrase is that it doesn't feel that the quality, the standard is not being met. Like it feels like a demo as opposed to like the actual thing itself. Like it feels like a shadow of the thing as opposed to what the thing actually is, if that helps clarify. So for me, because of that, because this feels kind of like a shadow of a thing as opposed to what the thing actually is, it's a no for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely like, I definitely want to not only spend more time with Casey, but I like want to wrap her around me and like take a bath in her voice. So that's interesting. Now I was hearing like it might sound like spots that were done that were pieced together like that. So that's what struck my ear. Like, oh, it sounds like spots that could be actual, but there wasn't a constant. I know we're just going piece, so it's not about the continuity.
But that does affect it.
Yeah. But there was something at the beginning that sounded a little fuzzy and not. So
and again, it's hard because it's in context, right? So like we had just had a few like really big yeses of things that really grabbed us and really took our attention and was like, oh wow, yes. So in context, it made this one maybe not feel as great from a technical standpoint because we've already had some that are really, really great.
Yeah, like super clear. I'm gonna agree with Vern here, Ryan. Can we give just a little bit more time before we scooch over?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
A little bit of I'm not having enough time to fully register. So
sure. That's totally fine. Sorry, I work.
That's how fast it can go.
Sorry, that's how fast it is. I felt like I was going slow. Sorry. Whatever. Yes, absolutely. My apologies. So let's listen to Lauren.
Introducing the new Xbox One S. Smaller. The school found exactly what it was looking for. It's a great time to be on Xbox One. Unleash your creativity with ink in Office and Windows. Because everything you need to...
Were there 2 Xbox spots? You only need 1.
If there were 2.
If there were 2. I heard Xbox twice. Maybe I'm crazy.
Who knows? Yeah, so for me, this is one of those things that falls in a gray area for me, where like I understood her vocal print, but then as we listened through the demo, everything kind of flatlined for me. So the expectation that she set with her energy in the beginning, it fell down as opposed to either continuing or ramping up as we went through.
Yeah, I felt the first one was so grounded and so clear of like, yes, this is, I believe this could be a spot. But then the other ones felt less grounded from an acting standpoint.
So for me, in this context, it's a no for me. It would be
it's
a pass
maybe for me.
Yeah, and I would say almost maybe 2, but because I also felt like, oh, that's good, and then it started like the energy leaned back a little on some of the other ones. So yeah, I'd say yeah, okay.
Yeah, let's move on to the next, and then so just something that we can also all be listening for as we're going through these, because I know like we're moving quickly through this stuff, is that's a really important thing to remember, is that whatever expectation you set with your very first thing that this perfect stranger who has never met you in life hears, you are indeed setting an expectation with what's going to come after that. And so think of it that way of like, okay, here's the first thing I'm hearing. Okay, great. Here's how I feel about this. And then as we moved into the middle and towards the end,
they felt less strong.
Does your expectation stay there?
Yeah.
Does it get better? Do you get more excited as you listen to more, or does it start to wane down? So that can be something else too to start opening your ears up to, is because I know that's what I'm always listening for in these first impressions. So let's listen to Ryan.
Want to spend less quality time with your kitchen floor? Yeah, I thought so. Confident you. A lotion moms love them more. The world has changed. Now more than ever. Bro, this shine just won't quit.
Okay, so I'm so glad I said what I said, because for me, this demo does exactly what I didn't want it to do. Is it set me up with an expectation, and then the very next thing I listened to felt like this very old school kind of bizarre beauty product commercial, which immediately turned me off. And so then I was like, after that second thing that I heard, I was done with that one.
Yeah, I'm a maybe on this one. I wanted more personality stuff, because the first spot was so personable and so fun and kind of quirky and
super great,
funny. And then I got something very serious, but I didn't feel like that's her thing, because it felt put on, as opposed to the first spot, which felt so real and so connected.
Yeah.
For me.
And I would say yes, because of the first one and the last one.
Yeah, I liked the last one too. So that one can, I'm curious what else is in there.
Throw it in there. Okay, Sarah.
We aren't just driven. We're obsessed. Cleaning out your cup holders or digging through your laundry for spare change. Saving medical care to those in crisis all over the world. To contests. Nothing compares to the Iowa State Fair. Whether you're navigating...
I love this voice. I love the reads. They all feel grounded, but they all felt like they were recorded on the same day at the same place to me.
Yeah, like they all kind of sat in the same,
like it was with the music buried way underneath, which they don't do in commercials. So it just made me feel like it's a demo. That being said, I love the voice and the acting.
Yeah, I would say super pluses for like I connected with her personality. I never felt that my expectation was betrayed as I went through. So I trusted her, come on. So I trusted her, which was great. And then I would say on the technical side of things, like from a sonic point of view, and like this, once I really start listening to it, I'm like, oh yeah, like what Brittany was saying, like it does kind of feel like the mix flatlines, and that the technical expectations are not met. But I would say yes, because I connected with her personality.
Yeah, I'd say yes too. And also what I loved about this demo is that we got really distinctly Sarah and then variations, but still truly Sarah.
It all felt like her.
Like all the different sides of like the different energies, I still got a through line of, oh, I think I know this woman.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah,
say
and hopefully everybody else did too.
Yeah.
Tess was saying she can't hear the demos. I just want to make sure. Is anyone else having that problem? Is anyone else having any issues hearing the demos?
I'm seeing head
I'm
shaking.
seeing
loud and clear.
You're okay?
Everybody seems good.
Keep us posted, Tess, if that's
It's being recorded.
okay. It is
All
being
right.
recorded,
So
hopefully, yeah.
Scion.
Okay.
Great, Scion.
Fact. Emily hasn't bought groceries in weeks. So how is she where each bottle of the world's finest tequila is handcrafted? Hey you. Yeah, you. Over time, colors stay smudge proof and locked in place. So you can lock smoke. Give them that fire. Under Armour.
So this is interesting. Branding, so important. So important. I loved the first spot. I loved the personality, and it really cut through. Fact. Okay, cool. Tell me what's up. But then I started hearing her brands, tequila and Under Armour. But they, as someone who looks at branding and casting and current things, I don't know if you would necessarily, that performance does not match with those brands. To my ear. For listening to what is currently going on in at least in the States.
Yeah, I would say.
So that distracted me.
I agree. Yeah, I think it for me it was just confusing to get a lock on what was her thing. Like if you asked me to like pair it back to me who Scion is, I wouldn't really know what to say. Like, was she like, friendly? Is she a friendly, like she kind of takes herself really serious? I don't know. And I think that's the problem I have with it is that I don't know who she is after listening to it. I can't tell you anything about her. Tish, what did you think?
Well, the fact caught my ear, but it also made me go like, wait, what? Like it was a little like, wait, hold on a second. And then I caught up on that first spot. Throughout, I thought the production was a little high, like it was distracting to me, that it was like a lot of music. And then what came through for me was a consistent brand, but everything kind of had a leather jacket on it. So how do you find the different outfits and still have, like, even if that's the attitude? I thought the cosmetic thing was effective though. That really caught my ear. It's good.
Yeah, I think it just needs a little tightening up. And in context of some of the other stuff we've heard, it's a no. But like, if we were looking for something specific with that vocal type, then it could totally be a yes. But these are, all things to think about.
Listen to Steven.
No.
This was me 5 minutes ago. Knees up, chest high. That can do both. Pony it all up. Salmon is good. Moe is good. All your favorite stations.
What a cool voice.
So this is another thing, right? Like cool vocal print, but there's a lot distracting in the demo in terms of because my ear, I heard his voice and I was like, cool voice. The very next thought I had was, this feels fake. Like the spots did not feel authentic. And then as I clicked through, that was confirmed that to my ear, none of the spots felt authentic.
It didn't feel connected, like as a human.
Well, I'm talking about even from a production standpoint, like just the way that things were presented. But cool vocal print. And like, I liked his energy.
The energy was great.
But like,
I felt disappointed.
I was disappointed.
And I think this is an interesting thing, because a lot to discuss here. Like I love the vocal print. Like I would call him in, like if I were an agent and I heard that, I would call him in just because I love his voice, and then maybe redo the demo. But I think there's an interesting thing. Sometimes people go like, okay, well, I've got a friend who has a recording studio, maybe a musician or something, like someone has a recording studio. So I think one of the things that we're coming into here is, yes, there's something that like, it can sound great, but you want to be working with someone who's tuned into all of the levels of what a demo needs to do and what's going on right now.
Mhm.
That puts it in that like, that sounds like it's on the air, right? Which is a little different if you only have one of those. Well, it's, I mean, you might have some input on this because, Ryan, you have that part of you, and then you also have this other part of you.
It's different. You're absolutely right. Like, I mean, it's just like, it's like working in different genres, right? Like when I'm working on, like, cause I score a lot of films and TV stuff. If I'm writing like crime drama music, that genre has its expectations that are far different than if I was doing like a romantic comedy. And in the context of this, like when I'm writing music, you know, those things are and those mixes are presented very differently than are the demos and or the commercial campaigns that I produce for clients.
Promo's so different.
Like even within the genre itself, like promo has a sonic quality to it that is different from the current trending commercial sound, which is different from an audiobook sound, which is different from an animation sound, etc. And so it is really important to, like, that does play a factor, as you can see, because again, like 99 or 95% of the time, your demo or whatever you're submitting is going to a complete stranger. And so every bit of that matters and plays an impact on how they relate to you in those few seconds.
And now that we're all working remotely, your demo could be like let's say you're in North Carolina. Your demo might be played against someone who's in LA. And you need to, and those are things to really think about. Like, is your demo as connected as an actor who's in Seattle or LA or Texas? Because your demo is not listened to in a vacuum. And now, especially since everyone's working remotely, that's just something to keep in mind. You don't have to be in LA to have a good
voiceover career.
Yeah, or a good voiceover career. You don't have to at all.
It's the ears, not the gear, right?
It's the ears, not the gear. I like that.
That's the thing. It's the ears, not the gear.
Yeah. Anyway.
So it's a pass for me on that. So let's finish up with Susanna and then Tess.
Want to make a difference in your community? Your Choice Kitchen Electric $63.99. Fractions for one. I'm gonna say it. We are innovators. We are pioneers. Continually learning.
I believe all that.
She's cool.
Yeah.
She's
definitely cool mom.
There's
Warm mom vibe. There's some differences in there.
It sounds old school to me.
Yeah, it does. I would say
it sounds really old school.
I would say it does sound really old school.
But it's great. It's great. It just sounds old school.
It feels like it was like 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Well, depending on the region, depending on what region is. Because Food Lion spots still sound like that.
So I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I believed her, so maybe for that reason it's a yes. And we just stack her up against whoever else is in there.
What do you think, Tish?
It could be interesting just to like see that trend thing.
Let's do it. And then let's finish up with Tess.
Say goodbye to high gas prices and oil changes. Now at Citi.com. A vision born from tradition. Moment, your time, your dream, your...
Feels dated to me, and also it feels put on, especially that last one we listened to. That didn't feel, it felt like, I need something that's slow and intimate.
Emotional,
but I didn't feel anything listening to it.
Yeah.
It just felt like it was something that that you were trying to fill a void to show range.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree. And I think this, go ahead, Tish.
Well, I was just going to be agree too, and especially lost me. Like, it's interesting where you get like there's an experience of like, ooh, you had me, and then ooh, you lost me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's a very fragile kind of thing, right? Yeah. It's like once you get their attention, you have to keep it, and the second you can look away, they will. Like, the expectation of them like sticking with you having never met you before is very unrealistic.
And so on the roller coaster track, like there's never a place where you go, whoa. right.
Like I want to, when I hear a really good demo, I want to listen. And even if I'm clicking through, I want to forget to click on to the next thing because I'm just sucked in and like, ooh, this is cool. And I just keep listening and I'm like, oh wait, it's over. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's what you want.
Yeah. And so I think something actionable that we can kind of take away from a few of these things that we've kind of passed on is the second that we sense that you don't care about what you're saying, or that it's just empty behind it for some reason or another, like it doesn't quite have that meaning and that connection that's coming in to where it's like, oh wow, like I instantly believe what they're saying and I want to pay attention, then that's where the thing goes off. And so
it's voice acting. It's not just voice. We are, when you're doing voiceover, yeah, you can have a cool voice. Yeah, you can have a cool print. But if you're not connected and we don't feel connected to whatever you're saying, whatever the spot is, whatever the emotion is, it's like empty calories. It's like, well, I'm still hungry.
Yeah. So it's a really important
That's an interesting thing. I'm still hungry. That's an interesting thought.
Yeah. It's like, I hear what you're trying to do, but I want more. I know that there's more.
So question,
Tish.
do we leave commercial behind for the moment and switch to some other genres? Because we do have a few animation and a few narration stuff to listen to. Or do we jump in and just finish out commercial and then bounce on?
Because this goes so quick, man.
Yeah, let's see. Can you show me how many of the others that we have?
Of course. So we have, some of these are duplicates. Like I think this is a duplicate. So
let's just listen down to everything and then we can put it all in context, and let's just pick up the pace.
Sure.
Let's just pick up the pace because I do want to make sure that we have time for
questions.
You know what? Hold on. Let's take a little second to answer some of the questions that I see here in the context of commercial. Then let's take like even quick, like boom.
We'll
boom,
go
boom,
even faster.
boom,
We won't dig into
animation, narration. So we'll take these things that we've laid down as concepts and then go, oh, and here's what we're listening for in an animation demo, and here's what we're listening for in a narration demo. So that we get a sense of that, because that'll actually be really illuminating. Because sometimes I think we only look at one thing and then we don't have a context of how it relates to the other. So I think that will be valuable. And so let's maybe take like 5 minutes to answer some questions here, or a couple of minutes to answer some questions, because I saw some good ones. Let's see. Casey has a really good question. You want to answer this question about rewriting current copy? And like, do you write copy? Do you write your own copy? Do you rewrite?
Yes, that's a great question about writing copy. So one thing to know, especially if you start sending your demo out to casting directors and things, odds are that casting director has cast a spot that could be on your demo if you just take the commercial straight from TV or straight from the radio and you don't change it at all. Odds are they've probably cast that or know someone who cast that. And again, it's like what we were talking about. You don't want anything distracting. So if, let's say I put a Volvo spot that just went up, I put that on my demo. I didn't change the copy. I just pulled the script exactly from what I heard on TV. I send it to the casting director not knowing. And they're like, oh, I cast that. We didn't cast her. Huh. No. No, next. That's not a real spot. The whole point of a demo is you want to create nothing distracting, and you want people to feel like you've done all these things, even though you haven't. Mm-hmm. So rewriting is great. I think that's phenomenal. Caveat to that, I always recommend working with someone who either just is a writer or is a demo producer who will write copy for you.
A copywriter, not just a writer.
Correct,
right. A copywriter. A novel writer, we want a copywriter.
Someone who understands, like we're just talking about commercial, someone who understands the structure of commercials and understands the structure of a demo and what they need to bring out in the different energies and things like that from you as a performer.
Because also something to consider is that in this context, the end product is not a 30-second Sonic commercial.
Yeah.
The end product is a 60-second commercial demo. So you have to understand, like, you have to work with somebody or yourself be so immersed in what that world is so that you can navigate that territory really smoothly, you know, because like a lot of experience we've had in the past with people who like do copywriting or whatever it is, oftentimes they're writing for the medium, which is a finished commercial.
A 60-second, 30-second commercial.
Where on the demo, we're fitting sometimes 8 sections of commercials into a 60-second time frame. And when we write all original copy for our clients, we know that that's how the finished product is going to work. So we're able to make sure that the branding is on point. So there's no issues with what Brittany was saying in terms of a casting director hearing something that they, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff is kind of out the window. And also we structure the copy in such a way that it gives us the flexibility when we're putting together all the puzzle pieces to where we can make things feel and fit together in the way that we know they need to be.
And on top of that, understanding the current market. Like right now, I would not do a John Deere commercial because they're not looking for my type of voice. Even though I could read the copy, it'd be fine, it'd be great. But anyone who's cast for John Deere and hears me reading a John Deere commercial, it's going to feel inauthentic because that's not what they're casting for right now.
Right.
And then one thing that I do want to note about Casey's observation is Viola Davis is a prototype on everything now. So that read, that is the trend, the sort of wise, we've got it, we know it's all happening, that and the little, you know, so that is the trend. So then what could you put on there that would be your Viola Davis read, but not necessarily that product, or not, but your, especially with your voice, that's, of course you want something like that, right? So then how do you get to like that? Yeah.
But if you can authentically connect to that, that's the important thing as well, that we heard with some people where they, we heard that they did a slow, intimate spot, but it didn't feel connected or authentic.
Right. So this is with any reference that you have, or if you hear someone on the air, celebrities get things because they're celebrities and people know them and they bring themselves. So then what are the qualities? How would you describe Viola Davis's voice? What effect does her voice have on you? Then where are those parts of your voice, and bring Casey's version of a Viola Davis type read? Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, you know, the copy is super important. You know, and it is. I mean, it is 50% of the thing, right? Of like, if your performance is 50%. And then the other 50% is
the copy and the branding.
Is the copy and the branding, and making sure that stuff's on point.
Yeah. We have copywriters testifying here. 2 questions that caught my eye here. One, how often do you recommend refreshing your demo?
It depends.
It really depends. Yeah. Like I think what you'll find is there is no fixed answer for every so-and-so I should do this, or when the full moon rises, I will do this, or
when
whatever.
There's a blood moon, I should redo my
when
demo.
There's a whatever, like, and we make our rituals, and then we're off to the next. The answer is always to pay attention to what's happening in your community of fellow voice actors and casting, and what you're noticing around you. And just building up that muscle of, I'm not sure if my stuff is serving me in this market. I should revamp some things.
And also, as people, our instrument is our voice. Our voices change. Our acting changes over time.
Like,
so if you,
right.
Yeah. And so like, you know, I listen, a demo we did for me 3 years ago, I listened to it recently and I was like, oh, I'm a totally different actor. This is not my vibe anymore. I'm in a different place. We need to redo my demo. Yeah. So and that's something you can honestly think about. You know, if you did your demo 5 years ago or 3 years ago or 10 years ago, and it was like super bubbly and upbeat and like young and all this stuff. But now you're more of the Viola Davis type. You're more sensitive and more caring and more knowledgeable. Then maybe it's time to redo it because you're a different actor. You bring different things now.
Yeah, David just articulated this, keeping up with the trends, but also your capabilities, and I would add experience. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, it becomes a much healthier way to look at things, because I always get stressed out whenever I hear somebody say like keep up with trends or whatever, because you feel like you're being like just ping ponged around by other people's opinions. And so like to bring it all back to you and what you're doing is what we're trying to get at here. Is it authentically serving you now with what you're experiencing, with your knowledge and the research and the connection that you have in this voice acting community that you are a part of? And if the answer to any of those questions is it's not serving me anymore, or what I'm hearing on air is way different than how I'm representing myself on my commercial demo, I want to open those doors, then I need to make some changes so that my stuff can open those doors. So it's not this like, oh, I'm over here, and then, oh, like next week I'm over here, and then, oh, whatever. Like, the most important thing on the face of the planet when it comes to being a voice actor is trust. And it's so important to make sure that your work is trustworthy and is authentically coming from a meaningful place for you. Do not bounce around and try and
don't change it every year. You don't need to do that, because that's just not
don't go to Forever 21 if you don't look good in MIDI.
Exactly.
Right.
And I will say, for those of you who are looking to make a demo now, do not put anything talking about COVID.
Don't do it.
Don't, because it's not going to be here forever. So you can have the same vibe, the same feeling of like we're together, you know, I'm caring, we're knowledgeable, we love each other, that type of stuff. Don't mention COVID.
And don't.
I've heard it on a couple of demos.
Any names of years, or like,
yeah,
it's the 2019, and now
so
after that,
something to be aware of. Again, like and that's where the copywriting stuff comes back into play. Is it's like you need people that are aware of that stuff.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
it's all about you.
It's all about you, and it's all about you connecting to the material that you have. And if the answer to, is this opening the doors that I want open for me, is ever no, then it might be time to look at changing something, since your demo is usually your first impression to complete strangers that you've never met before in casting and agencies and stuff like that.
Excellent.
So keep it simple.
Okay. So let's see. Well, now we're at a little crossroads because time, so complicated a relationship I have with you. Well, let's see. I do think let's listen down to the animation and the narration real quick. We'll just go yes, no, and maybe why. Let's
we'll go through it quick.
Quick look so we understand the contrast, and then open up like these are the other things. This is how it relates to what we've already considered. These are different things that you'd consider, and just in general, a yes no in this context, right? So let's breeze through, and then let's go through the next round of the commercial, and then I also would like to have some time for more questions and to wrap up.
So we'll go through the animation, and we'll just say yes, no, and then if we have any thoughts, we'll say it when we get to the end of animation.
Well, yeah, okay. So just the expectation for an animation demo, and some of these might also be video game demos as well. We just kind of lump them all together. Animation, what we're listening for is comedy, timing,
range.
I want to know that if I hired you to be the lead character in my animated pilot, that I could also double up on my studio time and get you to do a grandma, the neighbor at the shop, and the coffee guy that runs around selling coffee gelato to all the crazy kids in the neighborhood. So that's what we're listening for in animation, is that versatility and that vibe. Narration, what we're listening for is we're listening for meaning and connection. Do we connect with you? Because narrative stuff, we're with you for the long haul.
3, 10, 20 minutes.
Who knows? So narration, we're listening for that connection vibe. We're making sure that we can understand you clearly, but that you feel relatable, and that I could pop on some headphones and I could feel at home with you for the next hour and a half, is what we're listening for there. So,
and in terms of narration, one of the things, so the Dojo, we talk about the heart of each genre. So the heart of commercial is serve versus sell. The heart of animation is bring it to life. And the heart of narration is tell me the story. And then also one of the activations of narration being actively guide me through. Are you taking me on this tour of whatever? Take me with you on the guide me through. So
yeah, we'll start from the bottom.
Okay. We'll start for this one. We'll start on the bottom and work our way up for this. So we're Ian did 2, so we'll just do the animation 2.
Hello, Dr. Evil here. I'd like to present to you my arch nemesis in vocal talent, Ian Kleinfeld. He's really got his mojo work. Oh! I realize that this is all...
There is I don't hear any of the voice. Like, there was so much production without vocal. Like, that was super distracting. And I also, starting with with an impression is... We already have Mike Myers. He can do that. We don't need another one.
Yeah, this one.
So that's a no for me.
This one's a definite no for the same reasons. Yeah, it's also just like with commercial, like animated television shows, they have a sound to them and there's an expectation for when, for what that means. And this does not meet that expectation.
And the yell was distorted.
Yeah, and there's a lot of vocal distortion on there as well. So Ian, that might be something to look at fixing, is re-recording that stuff so it doesn't distort. Let's move on to Luca.
Okay, listen, this is my submission for the Goth Poetry Contest.
Eller! Yeah, that's it. Okay, gotta get back.
All the other oysters in my class are spitting pearls out left.
Beasts are not orderly. Plus, they're super scary looking.
I say yes on that because there's range. It's too long, and I think it needs to be a little snappier. You don't need stuff as long. Like, I think if you shorten some stuff and up the pacing a bit, but I liked the range.
It grabbed me, and I think there's a lot of animation that's in this style, like this sort of naturally style. I felt like the same core throughout each, like in terms of placement core. Like there were some different things happening with the mouth, but it was all kind of in the same place. So I would want to hear some more variation. But that was interesting, and I think I'd say maybe.
I think maybe it's good.
Yeah, I think, not to to contradict or anything, I just didn't connect with it because I felt like what Brittany was saying earlier, like kind of felt empty calories to me. Like it just felt kind of like
I'm putting on a voice, but not a character.
I'm doing a voice. Yeah, is how I felt. Let's jump up to Anna real quick.
Anna Carvalho.
The Middle Ages again. What if you get hurt?
I had to choose between us. Get told me of a place of rebirth where it is little more than one precarious
Notice the metadata, first off, how it's like
Anna
waves
Carvalho.
crashing on Rock Beach. So just something to be aware of, Anna. That's totally different. Also, this feels like a video game demo to me.
Slash narration, slash commercial, slash... It doesn't feel like what the expectation is from a animation or a video game reel. So it was
confusing.
It lacks focus. Yeah, I don't know what you're trying to showcase in that reel is my biggest issue with it.
Tish.
You're very specific. So if I needed that in a video game, it was good. I was confused as if it was a animation, if it was a video game, I was confused as to what exactly it was.
Yeah.
Let's listen to David.
Madame, the evening meal is prepared.
The fella that knows when to jump on a good deal? So what can I do you for?
Late, like always, with my 45 on the desk about to seen it all and done it all.
I'm going to say no on this one.
I'm going to say no too. The British didn't sound British, and it sounded like kind of, it was a little superficial. I didn't get any sense of what anyone was after. It was more sound of.
Yeah,
agreed.
I agree. And I think this is a really important thing to reiterate here is like what we've been saying all along, is it's all about you connecting and bringing meaning to your performances. And like, I don't want to sound harsh or anything like that, but it's very apparent to perfect strangers when somebody's like putting on a thing and isn't actually like invested in the thing, especially people that do this for a living. And so you're not going to get by on performances that like
is just the voice.
That's just the voice. Like, especially in the animation world, if I don't instantly believe that you are that character, then I'm out. And it's even harder to do in the animation world than it is on the commercial world, because not only do you have to like bring these weird variety of vocal prints and all this kind of stuff, but you've also got to create believability within these moments of these characters.
And same with video game as well.
Same with video game.
There has to be so much movement. I have to, when you're speaking, I have to be able to see the scene without actually seeing the scene.
Yeah. And then I think just in the same way that we want a range of commercial, the cellometer of commercials, I think you have to be very aware of the tone of the tune for animation, so that it's different than, from what we listened to in the 70s. Like the toonie is not where the trends are. So just having a range of understanding what the tone of the tunes that are out there is an important thing to include on your demo as well.
Yeah, like the difference between Nick Jr., Nickelodeon, Boomerang, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim.
Yep, exactly. Cool. So good guys. Keep on going, because it's all good. And the real key to animation is just going yes. So keep on saying yes. And if you want it, then dive in and get even more specific with it.
All right. Yeah. Last one is Grant.
You can run, but you can't fly.
What smells like ointment and pee?
How rude!
A toilet?
Uh-huh.
Shall I warm the seat for you?
Next turn, wham! We'll steal all the gold right out from that app, Vinny. Ow!
I liked a lot of the voices, but then I got, so one thing that's old school that isn't really done anymore is having characters talk to each other in a scene. So, because it makes me confused. I'm like, did he do all these voices, or did he pull these from things? So in the context of a demo, make it as simple as possible. So don't have characters talking to each other, because it adds doubt of like, did he do all these or just pull these from a scene?
And also to that end, in the context of the demo, is a lot of that time was dead space for the production. And I know you're trying to like set a scene and whatever, but you have to set and establish that scene with your vocal performance, not with space for the production.
Yep.
Like if you're running from a dinosaur that is, chomping at you from behind, I just need to hear all of that happening in your vocal. I don't need like 20 seconds of the dinosaur running and then hear you scream. Like I need to be able to hear the motion in your vocal.
And this felt more like a video game demo to me than an animation reel, just with the pacing and everything, just for your brain, Grant.
But very likable. Like I'd want to work with them.
Yeah, like there's some cool stuff in there. As a demo, I don't think that it's going to open the doors for you, because the expectation is so high in animation that all those I's need to be dotted, T's need to be crossed in order for you to be taken seriously.
Because otherwise they'll just get
Yeah, but like we're on the path.
Yeah, like the voices were great. Like I liked a lot of the stuff.
Really good.
On the path. Okay, so completely switching to the opposite side of the spectrum.
Corporate.
Now we're going to listen to narration, and we're just listening for immediate likability and connection to the material.
The toolkit can be accessed online or downloaded and installed on either Windows or Mac OS. You'll need to register the Bueller Remote Guidance. When a machine stops, the clock starts ticking to keep production losses low. There are over 45 more.
It's great. Like there's nothing in there that felt confusing. I felt like I was getting different kind of vibes for corporate stuff. And the vocal was really clear and felt really nice. I liked it.
I liked it too.
Well done.
All right. let's jump up to
Dennis.
Dennis.
This is, I guess, general narration.
For the wildebeest, the grass is life, but tough street rhythms. The heart of the action was Beale Street, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, the AZA. Where there is none, concentrate the plastic and take it out.
Okay, so as a narration demo, I think it's cool because I hear what Dennis does really well. He's got that amazingly broad, deep vocal print, which is super cool.
And I believe that for TV narration, for sure.
I would say there's definitely, like, just for the sake of the demo, I think you could chop out a large portion of that stuff because there's not a ton of, like, range in there. So, like, I feel like with your vocal print, less is more, unless it's going to be really different, because we get it instantly, which is amazing, and that's a gift.
Yeah.
But we don't need 2 minutes of
I
the
want
same
a voice like that.
The same thing, yeah. Just in the context of the demo, just like, you know, get to the point, like boom, there it is. But
really good,
great vocal print.
Yeah, I was in each story, and also it seems really. I'm like, oh, that sounds like Tim. That sounds like people. It sounds like what is working.
So. Yeah, it feels like I believe it immediately.
This is specifically medical narration here.
Because Laura's an actual doctor.
Ectopic pregnancy occurs when a fertilized ovum implants out of the uterine cavity. In the United States, percent of pregnancy-related death and infertility.
Okay, so I love that it's super specialized, and I love the choice to just do what seemed like one long thing for your medical. I thought that's a great way to present it. I also didn't mind that it was just dry voice, because in
some medical stuff is like that.
Some medical stuff is like that, and it's also a very common way that people want to be able to hear what your recording quality and stuff is, because for a lot of narration work, it's coming from self-hustle. It's not necessarily coming through an agent that's going to book you a studio to go in and record. So your home studio role plays a big part in it. So I didn't mind that. That being said, I think there's some room to finesse that sound quality, and make it a little smoother and a little tighter, and remove some of those mouth clicks and like some of the more distracting artifacts in the recording itself, because it is narration, so it's important that stuff is completely ironed out. But in terms of like presenting this one long medical thing, I think it's really great.
And I actually think that there's more humanity that you can bring to this. I would want to hear more, like, if you're teaching someone about something or explaining something it felt very, this is a thing, an egg will implant in your fallopian tube. It didn't connect with me. So I think you have the technical stuff, but I think there's a lot more heart and that can be brought to this kind of work. And even if you're, on something that's very like, this is official, this is important, I think that you've got a great start. I think that there's more that you can bring, especially since you do have you are actually a doctor, which is many medical narrators are not actually a doctor. So continue to find that blend. Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah. Should we listen to a couple of these?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Where's Papa going with that axe? A picture of cream on the thing. Fern, would you have killed me? Mr. Arable smiled.
This is an audiobook demo.
Audiobook, yeah.
Great. Audiobook. So I can't really speak to audiobook demos specifically, because that world is very much its own thing. Very much its own thing. I would say
I would label.
I would not present this as a narrator or narration demo. I would specifically label it an audiobook demo if that's what you're going after.
But the audio quality sounded great, and the voice.
Oh, did it? I thought it sounded fuzzy.
Yeah,
did you? Oh, yeah, maybe I was just focused on the voice. Maybe that was.
No, I would say
guys.
I'd say the quality.
I think I just really connected with the voice, and so I was like, oh, I like her voice a lot.
That was fun.
Locked
Yeah,
out.
in fact, and in audiobook, a lot of the times you're going to be producing from home, so your studio is being auditioned at the same time as your narration. So that's something to really take into account.
Well, then ignore me. I'm just
Ronnie Butler is going to be doing You Should Do audiobooks again in January. So we can talk a little bit more about that. And you can also catch the Dojo Go Guide series we did on ACX. Might have some interesting things to distinguish and just in that realm of audiobooks. So,
great.
So
well, let's finish these last two.
Comedy trailer.
Coming to a platform near you. For a florist will jump on his one-wheel XR with the woman of his dreams. This man.
So this is a no for me, because when I see comedy trailer, I'm expecting production. Because I would never hear a trailer for anything without any type of production. So immediately I was just like, oh, this isn't real.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a comedy trailer thing if it's. I honestly don't know what it is and what purpose it's serving, other than us hearing your voice on mic. Which
to be really honest, it wasn't funny.
Yeah, I didn't find. Yeah. It seemed really. It was more like someone trying to do in a world where something happens.
So I guess the clarification is, which genre are you trying to do? Would it be a promo? Is this a promo demo? Is it like which who are you trying to serve here?
What doors are you wanting to open with that?
Yeah, and then maybe get more clear on that. Voice is fun. There's a lot of potential fun stuff there.
Cool. Last one for Charles.
Under a full moon on February 8, 2020, female river hippo Funani gave birth to her.
I like the choice. I'm in the camp that like less is more. So with narration stuff, I like when it's just like one long thing that's 30 seconds and then that's it.
That's very specific and targeted. That being said, with this, it's super important that if you're going to go this route, and again, I would put this in the audiobook territory, not necessarily. Or maybe documentary.
Maybe.
I think it was going for a documentary, but that we have to have a discussion about it is something.
Is kind of the issue. And then I would say even more to the point is, again, because a lot of narrative stuff is from home. Your recording space needs quite a bit of fine tuning to make sure that your stuff is up to a certain quality, because that's going to play a role in like your booking rates and stuff. So
that's all I heard was just, it's from home and it needs some work.
Yeah,
that's how it felt to me.
So question, since it's whatever, do we want to go back through the commercial stuff, or do we just want to answer questions?
Well, let's see. Why don't we pick one or two commercial things? Why don't we pick one commercial thing?
One commercial.
And like we know Catherine's like rocked, right? We know guys we really liked too, right? We're like boom boom, and Jimmy's was great. Let's listen through which one was like kind of like that we could find, like there might be like something that we could listen to and like go, oh yeah.
Sarah's the production, like the reads were really good, but the production was or I think Ben at the top, I think we were on
because he was a UK talent.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So
you pick one, Tish.
Let's go with Robin. Yeah, let's go with Sarah. That was great.
Okay.
Cool. So now that we're back in the commercial world, and we've kind of seen a lot of stuff that very commonalities between all this different stuff. This is the part where we've whittled down everything,
and that top 10.
The client has their top 5, top 10 demos that they're going to listen all the way through in order to weigh whether you're going to get the job. And so this is where all of this other stuff comes into play in terms of your personality and the variety that's there. And does all that variety feel authentic to you? It's not just there to fill a checkbox on a thing. And so that's what we're listening for all the way through with Sarah. Here we go.
Hold on, before we start, mine hasn't been listened to yet. My commercial demo, can we do that? Is there a way to do that?
I'm just writing to you right now. Right now, it's out of the flow of the context. But if you'd like to, if you've submitted it and then you want to set up some time with both Ryan and Brittany and I privately, we can give you some review. But right now, it's out of the flow of the context. It wasn't in the mix, so sorry if there was confusion.
Sorry if we missed you.
Yeah,
it was submitted, or.
We'll figure it out later.
Yeah, it was submitted.
Okay, somehow it didn't get in here, so our apologies. And if you if you can take some time to set up time with us, we'd be happy to go over it with you individually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now, we're just trying to keep it through. So we will give you feedback. Let's just set some one-on-one time up, okay?
Okay.
All right, here comes Sarah's demo.
We aren't just driven, we're obsessed. Every material purposefully chosen, every texture thought out, every button debated. Until the all-wheel drive kicks in. Then it's kind of like anything goes. The all-new Kia Telluride. No more cleaning out your cup holders or digging through your laundry for spare change. Let Acorns do the work for you. Acorns automatically invests your spare change on a recurring basis with just the touch of a button. Acorns. Join, earn, and invest, all from your smartphone. Doctors Without Borders goes where others won't. They provide life-saving medical care to those in crisis all over the world. You can help bring care to those who need it the most.
Shop Hy-Vee, where there's a helpful smile in every aisle.
Funds loaded on prepaid card. Fees for other products may apply. The loan is a tax refund related credit product. See hrblock.com/loan for details.
From food on a stick to the butter cow, entertainment to rides, animals to contests, nothing compares to the Iowa State Fair.
Whether you're navigating around the city during rush hour or just trying to get out of the driveway, there's one name you can count on: AAA.
This is a very interesting thing.
This is an interesting thing. So this demo, to me, Sarah, I don't know where you're located, but it feels like a great regional demo. I felt like there were a lot of smaller clients like Iowa State Fair or all those things, that there were a lot of regional stuff. So it makes me feel like you might be working in a medium market, which is cool.
That's great. And you can sculpt what, that goes, what doors are you opening?
Exactly. So if you're looking to move into a bigger market like New York, LA, things like that, rethinking your demo might be a good idea. However, if it's working for you in your market, great. I would think about getting rid of the singing. To me, it was distracting. And it didn't feel right.
And frankly, if you're going to be doing singing in commercials, that's a whole nother realm that you would find out what is the jingle market, and you would get into that sort of session singer jingle market. The way that a voice would be hired as a singer on a commercial would be through that whole becoming a jingle singer route. And then we'd have a different discussion on how you would do an animation, singing voice for animation.
Right. So I would think about getting rid of that because you don't really need it. And kind of something we had talked about earlier was the production felt really low compared to where the voice was to me. Like it all felt like you had recorded all this on the same day, doing the same thing, and then just threw different music underneath it, which makes me think you didn't book these things, but I could be wrong.
And what you're talking about is something that a demo producer can find the nuances to make how this sounds a little bit different in addition to tone, right. How the recording, the production is set up so it sounds a little different as well.
Right, like the performances all sounded good, but it was just the mix of production with the vocal. Those didn't sound authentic to what you would hear on the radio or TV or all those things.
That's interesting,
especially the car spot in the beginning.
Yeah, I also felt like there was definitely some opportunity there to revisit some of the branding, like some of the clients on the demo. And like how all that stuff came out, I wasn't, I was not 100% sold on whether or not that felt true to your brand as a voice actor. So that is something else to kind of keep in mind, is making sure that, if you're going to do a AAA spot, make sure that they're using your vocal print and your energy as an actor in their stuff, and that applies to any other client that you're putting on the demos. It's kind of thinking about it in reverse. But I'm glad we listened to it all. It's interesting listening to it all. I was a little bit more disappointed by it, to be completely honest, but I'm glad we listened to it all. So it was great. Let's answer questions.
Cool. So, guys, we're at like 5 minutes of, so if you need to roll, this will all be recorded. Before anybody has to go, let's put up how you can follow up, and then I'll talk about all sorts of stuff that's going on in the dojo. So there's all sorts of stuff always coming up, but can you guys, I'm going to put in how people can get in touch with us. So for the dojo, you can sign up for a voiceover once-over, which is a free 15-minute call. And you just go to the website and scroll down and find the voiceover once-over button. But it's www.thevodojo.com. And then, so that's great. And you'll be able to talk to either me or Diana, our team member. And then how do people keep in touch with you, Ryan? Because really take us up. We want to talk to you. We want to hear you. We want to listen to your...
And it's free, so why not?
Yeah, and it doesn't cost you anything. So I put our link to our website so you can hear samples of our work and all that in the chat at nextlevelvoicedemos.com. And then I also just dropped in my personal email as well. So don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah. You can sign up on our website for get on our calendar, or shoot us an email and we'll get you on there. So if we didn't go through your demo, or if you want more info
or
about demos, or
anything in between.
What did we eat for breakfast? What is it like to live in LA? Whatever.
Whatever. We're here and we want to hear from you. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Treat us as a resource. Like we said from the beginning, like we're here to help. We want you to have actionable things that are actually going to serve you and get you, the jobs that you want, the money in the bank that you want, the career that you want. And so that's what we're here to help.
I think also, what the dojo is all about is, how do you demystify it? Is it hard? Yeah, it's hard, but so is anything you do. But how can you make it easier? How can you start having understanding and perspective, bigger context, but not being scared, right? It's hard, but it's doable if you want it. So, thank you all so much. If you are interested, we do this twice a year. Everyone got how to keep in contact with Brittany and Ryan, right? We'll put that in the text again. Anything, get on our schedule for a voiceover once-over for the dojo. We have something going on for wherever you are. If you've never thought of doing voiceover, our whole mission is to guide, support, connect, and accelerate you from I don't know to working pro. And we can meet you where you are. Things that are coming up. This Thursday, that would be tomorrow, as we say in this country. Tomorrow, we have one of our VO Dojo Pro Fight Clubs, which is our working pro workouts. Ezra Weiss is joining us tomorrow. We've got Carly Silver from Sound and Fury is joining us at the end of the month. The player spots are sold out, but everyone can audit, so check that out on the website. We've got a Halloween contest coming up, that's on the website. And if you are interested in getting started, the You Should Do voiceover intensives are taking off now, filling up. And we also have our full training program called From Mystery to Mastery, if you're interested in that. And if you're a working pro already, we have the Nth Degree Focused Action Forum. So get on a call. We'll talk about where you're at and where you'd like to be. Thank you all. What a great turnout. Thank you all who stepped up.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much.
We're so excited to chat with you more.
Yeah.
Please don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, whether you had a demo up or not, we're around.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a
Thank
great rest of the day. Bye.